Greetings, members of the Midnyte Society. Get cozy as we venture into the shadows and explore the creepiest corners of Reddit. If the dark, creepy, and disturbing side of the internet is your thing, you are in the right place. So make sure to subscribe to the Midnyte Society and ring the bell to stay updated. Now, let the spooky stories begin.
Chased through an orange grove. I grew up in a small Southern California town known for its orange groves from days gone by. All those groves have been replaced by housing developments and shopping centers now, but there were still quite a few around when I was growing up in the 90s. My friend Johnny and I used to get into all kinds of trouble back then. We were just general miscreants. But there was one time I truly believe we almost became victims of a child, redacted. If anyone reading this also grew up in the 90s, you know that it was a different era. We'd be out all times of the day and our parents would have no idea where we were. There were lots of kidnappings back then. I can remember multiple times that I was offered candy or asked by some creep to help him find his cat. I always said I'd go check with my mom, and by the time she'd get outside ready to whoop some, but he'd be gone. So anyway, Johnny and I were up to no good one day after school. We were traipsing around this orange grove that bordered his street. We started pulling these little metal things off the irrigation channels and tossing them wantonly. All of a sudden we heard a sharp whistle and both looked up to see this man about 25 feet away from us wagging his finger and going, But his reaction was not at all proportional to the property damage we were causing. He clearly didn't own or work in the grove, because instead of screaming at us to stop, he had a grin from ear to ear. I can still see his face in my mind all these years later, and it gives me chills. Johnny and I stood there for a second watching this guy. Then we looked at each other and Johnny looked back toward the guy and shouted, "Run." I look over and the guy is in an all-out sprint toward us. Despite the physical exertion he was putting into his sprint, the grin was still there. Johnny and I ran harder and faster than we ever had before. We made it out of the grove and back to his house, before noticing the guy wasn't behind us anymore. We quickly forgot about it because Johnny's family had just gotten a Nintendo 64 and we started playing Mario. I can't remember if it was the next day or week, but sometime after this happened, we were with his mom getting donuts and we saw a wanted poster with a sketch of a man that looked awfully similar to the guy who chased us. He was wanted for trying to lure a boy outside of a school. Johnny and I looked at each other and seemingly telepathically agreed to never say a word. I don't know why we never spoke up. Maybe because we were at that age where we'd be relentlessly bullied because of the mere possibility that we could have been hurt. But we never did speak of it again. As I'm typing this, I'm considering reaching out to him to see if he remembers, and if it aligns with my memory of the incident. There were so many different things that happened in my childhood in the 90s that could have easily ended with me dead. Somehow I'm still here, and I have my own family now. I trust no one because of incidents like that. I always have my head on a swivel. Dude, who may have been redacted, that chased me and Johnny in that orange grove that day, let's not meet. Pinkie Pie has been haunting me for the past 9 years. My story starts in 2014, when I was 10 years old. I had just made a Gmail account and it made me feel really grown up and mature. I'm thankful I didn't pick something stupid for the address because I still use it to this day. With my Gmail account, I created a blog on which I posted book reviews and recommendations, because I was kind of a nerd when I was younger. I gave all my classmates the link to my blog and I knew every single person that engaged on it because their usernames were some variation of their real name. However, one day, I received a comment on a post I made from a username that I didn't recognize. PinkiePie_. They left very normal comments on my posts, and I thought maybe it was one of my classmates with a different username. I didn't think too much of it. Then, about 2 years later, in 2016, I made a Roblox YouTube channel, which I have since deleted, otherwise I would have linked it here. Cringy, I know. I would record gameplay and post it onto my channel and I gained a whopping 18 subscribers or something. But one of my subscribers, the only one that regularly commented on my videos, was called PinkiePie_. This kind of freaked me out because I had made a completely new email for this channel and hadn't told anyone about it. Roblox used to be my guilty pleasure, so I kept my channel a secret. I kept on brushing off the Pinkie Pie _ appearances, commenting on my videos, my blog, my friends' YouTube channels, and even on my mom's Facebook, as coincidences until 2019. I was either 14 or 15 and had made my first Reddit account. This was when I was in my K-pop era. I was a regular on r/K-pop and made news-like posts about happenings in the K-pop world. One day, I made a post on r/K-pop like usual, and one of the comments was from a user named Pinkie Pie _. The comment read, of course it's Korea boo, with the clickbait headline, and nobody questioned it because it was a fairly normal comment that still stayed relevant to what my post was about. I clearly remember that feeling of losing my mind because this Pinkie Pie _ person had been showing up on every single social media account I ever created, ever since my very first email account. I believe that I reported the Pinkie Pie _ account, and deleted my own Reddit account. I still kept tabs on Pinkie Pie _ though, and I have the link to the post saved to this very day. Now we jump to 2020, when I was 16 years old and the pandemic had just started. At this time I was kind of emo and angsty and insecure, as most people are at least once in their lives. I had not made a TikTok account even though it was all the rage because of literally only one thing, the fear of Pinkie Pie _ finding me once again. It was at this time I discovered 4chan. 4chan's complete anonymity and my strongest weapon, the Opera browser and its VPN, led me to believe that I was 100% safe and protected, even if I was on a website that was basically full of the devil's spawn. I posted normal things, sometimes explored the NSFW side of 4chan, and mostly just enjoyed talking to strangers on the internet. One day, I was feeling especially brave, so I took 3 to 4 very NSFW photos of myself, with a timestamp, and posted one of them on /b/. My post rose to the top because I had mentioned that I was Asian in the title, which I am, and obviously, 4chan went crazy over that. I remember receiving between 400 to 500 replies on my thread, and not all of them were nice. Still, I got a lot of compliments, which really satisfied my ego and made me feel a little better about myself. Then, as I was lurking over my thread, refreshing every 2 seconds, I saw a comment from somebody named Pinkie Pie _. It was another generic, humorous compliment, but this one did not make me feel admired or appreciated. It made me feel sick to my stomach. This was my breaking point. I remember bursting out into tears, deleting that thread immediately, and then going into a paranoid, delusional state. I deleted all of my social media accounts, except my Gmail, powered off my phone, shut down my computer, and even disconnected the Wi-Fi. I honestly felt like I was going insane because no matter how much I tried to forget about this person, they showed up literally everywhere online. By that time it had been around 6 years since Pinkie Pie _ first showed up. For a couple of years after that, I took a break from every type of social media entirely. I got rid of my Instagram, Snapchat, Reddit, YouTube, basically everything. If I wanted to go on a social media site, I would do it without signing in. This gave me a much-needed break from Pinkie Pie _. I never deleted my Gmail, since I use it for everything. What's odd is that while Pinkie Pie _ has found me on every social media site I use, they have never once directly emailed me. I am sure they do have my email, they've just chosen to not email me. Finally, we get to 2023, and to present times. Sometime in early January, I decided to make a Reddit account again and mostly just lurk. I posted/commented very little and I received no comments from Pinkie Pie _. I believed the ordeal was finally over. In November, a few days after my 19th birthday, I went to Japan for my cousin's wedding. I decided to make a Reddit post on r/outfits of my wedding outfit because I really liked it and wanted people to see it. Guess who commented on it? Well, to be honest, I don't know who it was. By the time I read the comment, the account that had written had already been deleted. But they wrote, "How is Japan? Liking it more than, name of the city where I live, name of the state where I live, USA?" Once again, I was in hysterics. I was, and still am 99% sure that this is Pinkie Pie _. Somebody, even if it wasn't who I thought it was, had just freaking doxed me on the internet. I reported the comment, reported the user, and once again, deleted my post and deleted my account. All I can do is run. I've made a throwaway account to share my story because I need to get it off my chest. I haven't told a single soul. I feel unsafe all the time and have paranoia-induced hallucinations occasionally, and I cannot explain to anyone why. I swear to the freaking gods, if Pinkie Pie _ comments on this, clown on a lawnmower. So, I have contemplated telling this forever because it sounds so not real, but I love this subreddit so much, so I've decided to share it here. When I was in high school, I worked at the local Pizza Hut and I was a closing server. So after closing down the salad bar and mopping, I got out of there pretty late. I had this ritual of texting my dad when I was done to let him know I was almost home, but mostly it was to test and see if he and my mom were awake or not. If they weren't, I would take the long way home on the old country roads. I lived on a dog breeding farm 20 minutes outside of town, and I would smoke a joint or two and jam out. One particular night I decided to do this, and I was riding along a back road about 5 minutes from my house. This is a road I know very well as my school bus took this road my whole childhood. One thing to note about my area is I live in the deep woods of East Texas, so most people who own property put their houses about 1/2 of a mile back on their property and keep their exposed woods as basically a natural fence and defense. So, while you can see a lot of driveways and mailboxes, you can see almost no houses from the road, just woods with chunks taken out. As I'm driving, I come upon a toolbox, like the ones that sit up in the back of work trucks, smack dab in the middle of the tiny dirt road. I pull up to it and stop. I open my door, stepping out but not stepping away from my car, as I take in the obstacle. I then realize my headlights are not the only light in the road. There are other headlights, small ones, coming up a driveway that was parallel with the toolbox. I sit back down in my car and close my door until only a crack is left open, so that in a moment's notice I can close it, drive over the grass and get the heck out of there. A small riding lawnmower comes out from the trees, and riding it is a man in a full clown suit and mask, and a shotgun laying across his lap. He turns and looks directly through my windscreen and into my eyes, bringing the shotgun up out of his lap. Now, I am a country boy through and through. I can smell when I'm somewhere I'm not wanted. So before he even got the butt of that thing to his shoulder, my car was in drive and in the side ditch of the road. I drove off as fast as I could, threw my joint out the window, went home, and crawled in bed. I never spoke about it to anyone. I don't know what that guy was doing, seeing as this was around 2019, so well after the killer clown craze. Whether it was a dumb kid, or some crazy backwoods man, Mr. Clown, let's not meet again. Please.
Thank you for joining us on this spine-tingling journey into the depths of Reddit. If you've enjoyed these terrifying tales, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until the next time, members of the Midnyte Society, stay curious, stay brave, and may the mysteries of the night unfold in your favor.